Hello and welcome to today's webinar, How to Load Balance a Moodle Cluster with Progress Kemp. My name is Evan Flugrat and I'm joined by Maurice McMullin, Principal Product Manager for Progress Kemp. Before we begin today's demonstration, I want to draw to your attention the questions panel, which you should see on the right-hand side of your screen. You may need to expand the panel by clicking the plus sign or down arrow for full view. We will take your questions at the end of the demonstration. You are encouraged to submit those questions at any time. Today's session is being recorded and will be made available to attendees after its conclusion. We will now show a demonstration of how to configure a load balancer to a Moodle cluster. Please submit your questions in the chat and Maurice will cover those at the conclusion of this demonstration. Thank you.
Balance a Moodle cluster with Progress Kemp LoadMaster. In this session, we'll do a quick overview of Moodle clusters and then jump directly into the configuration of Moodle and LoadMaster. We will also look at other benefits that LoadMaster offers to enhance the Moodle user experience. So let's look at why we need to load balance. Load balancing offers the flexibility to meet changing user demands. As demands change, servers can be added or removed with no impact or reconfiguration of client-facing services. Load balancing brings resilience. If a server fails, users get redirected to remaining available servers, maintaining their user experience. Load balancing simplifies management in a number of ways. Moodle servers can be easily and transparently brought in and out of service, removing the need for prolonged service windows. The load balancer also provides insight on how the overall service is performing, making it easy to identify any root cause to problems. Another benefit is the consolidation of security management. There's only one place that you need to manage security certificates and protocols. And on the subject of security, LoadMaster brings numerous security benefits, including single sign-on, web application firewall, and a single enforcement point for encryption policies. All this ultimately improves the end user experience with better performance, security, and availability. When load balancing, we have a number of features that we can implement to ensure the best client experience. We can use a number of different scheduling methods to balance traffic across servers. This can vary from a simple round robin, where connections are shared evenly among servers, to more advanced methods that take existing server load into account. We can also apply a weighting to servers to accommodate environments with servers of different capacity. When load balancing, it is often a good idea to keep a user's session on the same server. LoadMaster can use a wide range of client attributes to uniquely identify each session and persist that session to the same server. We can enhance performance and simplify administration by offloading the SSL processing with security protocol enforcement and certificate management all being managed on the load balancer. Looking at the architecture of a typical Moodle cluster, we have a number of Moodle servers that are connected to a replicated storage and database infrastructure. The setup and configuration of this shared infrastructure is out of scope for this session, but is covered extensively in the Moodle documentation, which is on the moodle.org website. What we are focused on is balancing traffic across the Moodle servers and to make that experience totally seamless for the Moodle users. Let's now work through configuring a LoadMaster to load balance traffic between two Moodle hosts. Our example setup is very basic. We have two Moodle servers and a single load balancer, and they're all in a 192.168.0 subnet. We will deliver Moodle services on the URL moodle.example.com, which will point to the .201 address on the load balancer. The load balancer, you may notice, also has a management address on .74. The Moodle servers are on the .75 and .76 IP addresses. While not covered in this session, we can configure a load balancer with multiple interfaces in different subnets to provide additional separation and to support public and private access to Moodle services. Firstly, some changes are required on each server in the Moodle environment. There are a number of parameters documented that fine-tune how Moodle works with load balancing, which may or may not be applicable to your site. At a minimum, you will need to set the SSL proxy equals 1 value in the config.php file in the Moodle directory on each server. The Moodle.org site has a detailed document on all aspects of configuring Moodle clusters, from the shared storage aspects through to the load balancing. On the LoadMaster, we will now add a new virtual service on the .201 address. We will also publish this service on port 443 as we're using SSL, and we will use the Moodle template to simplify configuration of the Moodle service. We can see here that the Moodle template has automatically created two services. The first service is a redirect so that anybody connecting to a non-SSL session is redirected to the SSL service, ensuring that all communications is secure. Our next task is to assign a digital certificate to this service. We have already uploaded a certificate and a private key, and we'll use this certificate and private key. We also have an option here to configure the cipher suites to use. As we can see, our server now has a certificate, but is showing down as we have not defined which Moodle servers are in the cluster. We will now add 2 Moodle servers to the service. By default, we are health checking Moodle servers using HTTP, but we can use something as simple as ping or custom health checks. To add the servers, we just provide their IP address, and we also add the port on which they are providing services. We can also specify the server weighting here to enable an even load balancing across servers of different capacity. As we can see, once the servers are added, they are automatically detected as up by the health check and the service becomes available. That is all that is needed to deliver scalable and reliable Moodle clusters. Moodle servers can be added and removed on demand with no client changes. We can add much more value to the Moodle user experience, as the load balancer is perfectly positioned to deliver enhanced security and performance. Using the load balancer to provide pre-authentication services is one of the most commonly used features. With pre-authentication, users must first authenticate with the load balancer before being granted access to Moodle servers, reducing the opportunity for hackers to attack your Moodle cluster. Once authenticated with the load balancer, users are automatically signed on to Moodle, and the single sign-on can be used with other applications in your infrastructure as well. LoadMaster has wide support for all the leading authentication schemes and supports enhanced authentication options such as smart cards and password tokens. Moodle has native support for Office 365 authentication and also offers plugins to integrate Office 365 services such as calendaring and OneDrive, giving users a completely seamless sign-on and access experience. One of the primary ways that websites and applications are compromised is through vulnerabilities that are documented by the Open Web Application Security Project, known by the abbreviation OWASP. LoadMaster's Web Application Firewall, or WAF, provides a way to protect your Moodle site from attacks attempting to exploit these vulnerabilities. The WAF inspects all traffic and, just like a virus scanner, will identify malicious payloads and block such activity, providing you with an additional layer of protection for your Moodle cluster. The WAF also gets regular updates of IP addresses that have been identified as dangerous and offers an option to block access from these addresses. LoadMaster has a number of features that can help optimize traffic delivery and provide a better experience for your users. Content switching directs traffic to specific servers based on the content of requests. An example here might be redirecting all requests for video content to Moodle cluster members that are optimized for video delivery. LoadMaster can also cache and compress content, which can reduce the load on Moodle servers for commonly requested resources such as logos and banner graphics. Content can also be compressed, reducing the bandwidth required and offering a better experience for users. To align with your investment in a Moodle cluster, you can deploy LoadMasters as highly available pairs to provide transparent failover in the event of a load balancer failure. And finally, if you've got a geographically dispersed Moodle or need to support multi-site failover for disaster recovery, for example, LoadMaster offers DNS load balancing. An example use case would be where users in New York get served from data centers on the east coast of the US, while a user in London would get served from a UK data center. To see how you can enhance the resilience, security, and performance of your Moodle environment, visit kemptechnologies.com and take a free trial. The trial is a virtual appliance and is available on all major hypervisor and cloud platforms. We also offer a range of dedicated hardware appliances and flexible licensing options to ensure you get the best possible solution. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Okay, thank you. We will now be taking questions. Please submit your questions in the panel on the right side of your screen. Maurice, I know we have some questions already that have trickled in here. So if you want to come on here and answer these questions. First, can we use this approach for Moodle servers in AWS?
Hello, everybody. Yes, absolutely. LoadMaster is available in AWS, actually also on the Azure and Google Clouds, and it brings all the security and operational benefits and the same easy to manage format as an on-premises LoadMaster, so you benefit from the integrated security features and the simplicity of operations common to all LoadMaster platforms. And with cloud actually as well, you've got more flexible licensing options. So you've got options there rather than buying a permanent license. You can actually have pay-as-you-go licensing models in each of those clouds. So you can literally pay for your load balancer hourly, which may suit organizations that have, let's say, a Moodle environment that you only need to spin up for specific periods of it, maybe a monthly thing, or it's part of a term or whatever, that you may have to put in a special Moodle server, and you can literally just turn it on and pay for the usage for that period and turn it off again, and there's no charges. So the quick answer there is, yep, we're very cloud friendly.
That's great. Thank you. And another question here. What is the limit on the number of Moodle servers supported?
LoadMaster will support up to 100 or 1,000, sorry, 1,000 Moodle servers, which should cover even the largest of deployment. One thing to consider there is that, with these larger deployments, the Moodle configuration can come a bit complex. The LoadMaster part of it is very straightforward. You just keep adding the server addresses, but the Moodle part may become a bit complex there. So maybe engaging with a Moodle partner is a good idea there to make sure that you get your sizing right. So sometimes you may be better off, putting in 5 large servers rather than, 10 smaller servers, and also getting things like your database configurations and that data sharing part of it on the database correct. So recommend engaging with a partner in that, but with LoadMaster, up to 1,000 servers can be added.
Great, thank you. And just a reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and submit those. I know we have a couple more here. So Maurice, how much protection does a web firewall provide for an application like Moodle?
Uh, the web application firewall, it adds an additional layer of security in there for all web applications, including Moodle. Uh, you know, even a widely used application like Moodle that's got a lot of development effort in it will have undiscovered vulnerabilities. Actually, I did a quick check in preparation for this uh, session, and in the past week, that's in July 2022, there were 2 vulnerabilities there that discovered in Moodle that a WAF would have provided protection against. So the web application firewall is that additional layer for these emerging vulnerabilities so that even though you haven't got your system patched up to the latest, your Moodle system patched up to the latest revision, you still have the protection of the web application firewall against those type of attacks.
Sure. And can you speak more to the security benefits of the LoadMaster in more general terms?
Yeah, I touched on some of these in the webinar. So if we look firstly, let's say, is an operational aspect of it gives you a single enforcement point uh, to managing, your certificates. You only have to manage your certificate in one place for your Moodle environment. You can also enforce the encryption policies that you need there so that people aren't using older encryption algorithms. And that avoids the challenge of maintaining that consistent security posture that, and complying with policies across multiple Moodle servers. Somebody decides we need an additional server spun up, they configure it, they get the Moodle part working okay, and they may forget about, oh, I haven't enforced, the the uh, the the correct policies here in terms of our encryption. So it ensures that the user-facing security policies are, in compliance. So that's one part, and that's really around, ease of management and compliance with policies. And again, just to reiterate, the value of a WAF, really shouldn't be underestimated. There's new vulnerabilities are always being uncovered, and this isn't just a Moodle issue. It's any application is vulnerable to exploits. We've constantly see it. Let's say even with uh, you know products from Microsoft, from Oracle, those large companies, they're subject to vulnerabilities as well. And the WAF just provides that level of protection against the vulnerabilities. And these vulnerabilities are tracked by OWASP. I mentioned the OWASP project earlier in the presentation. And they're classified into things like cross-scripting attacks or SQL injection. And these patterns are identified and updated regularly to make sure that the actual rules as well are up up to date against the latest. But it provides that additional layer that of protection for your application. And the security value of pre-authentication is quite significant, because with pre-authentication, a remote user does not get near the application any access, even to login screens or anything, until they have successfully authenticated with LoadMaster, and only then are they given access to the systems and behind into the Moodle servers. So by using pre-authentication, it means that somebody, let's say, that is trying to use some sort of an exploit along with the WAF, you have this protection there of, you're not, number one, getting to the system without pre-authentication. And then if you do have some pre-authentication, let's say somebody does a registration to get access to the system, again, you've got the WAF behind that. So pre-authentication provides quite a strong protection there against, let's say, drive-by type attacks, where really all you have to be is more secure than the next guy, because if they fail so many times, normally these are script driven and they'll move on to the next target. And there's also a win there with that single with pre-authentication, where you can leverage it for a single sign-on. So the credentials that you provide on that pre-authentication can automatically log you on to your Moodle environment and also into any other environments that you may have there. So again, making that a better user experience. So those are the main security pillars of LoadMaster, and the additional security benefits that they can bring to a Moodle environment. Oh, just one other, there's another part there as well. LoadMaster also has the concept of content rules, and content rules allow you to provide some fine-grained control on what resources are accessible. So, for example, you may decide that let's say video content isn't available to a group of users, or you may explicitly block off part of the Moodle environment for users coming from outside your organization. You can use content rules to do all of that for you, to provide a much finer grained control on what resources somebody can access. So that resources can be a URL path, it can be a type of media, there's a lot of things that can be used with content rules there. Just do any sort of a pattern matching on it. So that's another potential security use for LoadMaster.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. There are no other questions at this point. So with that, we can end today's session. I would encourage you to go to kemptechnologies.com to learn more about the LoadMaster and find additional resources there. Thank you for attending today's webinar session, and have a great day. Cheers.